Yeah.
And then Tom, do you want to call the meeting to order?
Yes, let's call the meeting to order. Dan, I'm going to need your guidance on the agenda, though, or another board member can guide us. So I think I need them. I think she's called in, so
Yep, I can handle it. I can handle it for sure. And so just to let everybody know, in attendance, we have Tom Roche, Anita Tripp, Todd Tyler, Joe Carroll, Chris Miles, Al Collins, James Donahue, Christina Durkee, and Dan Shields did call and ask if it was absolutely necessary that he be here tonight because he had a conflict. And I told him we had a quorum without him and that he should not worry about setting aside his other duties tonight. So I wanted to update the board on that. So I'd like to ask everybody to join in the salute to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Excellent. So we did the attendance. So first up is a presentation, and that's the interim superintendent profile, and I'll turn it over to Mr. Dexter and Mr. Mueller for that. And again, I can project any of the documents you'd like me to.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Ward, and good evening, everyone. It's good to see you again. So after we met last week, of course, we took a few steps to meet the timeline we have in place. The first is we sent out a survey to you folks, and also we updated the posting, which I know I sent to you earlier this week. But the most important document that we're hoping to tackle with you tonight is the candidate profile. Just so you know, just in case, 'cause I know some of you may just be coming home from work, but what I would like to accomplish tonight, if possible, is to try to lock in or get closer on the candidate profile, to review the posting that I sent to you, and to see if we can talk about some dates on the calendar for the board to determine who you want to interview and also for interviews. So with that in mind, Tony did a great job of putting together the survey. He collected the data and he has the profile. Tony, did you want to put up the I'm sorry, my voice is a little weird today. Did you want to put up the profile right first, or did you want to put the survey? Or
yeah, let me share some of the survey data, and then that kind of we could jump right to the profile. So then I can share some stuff too, right? Is it open? Okay. So let me share. Give me 1 second here. Let's start with the okay, so this was the characteristic chart. So I used this for the draft of the rating sheet to assess, and I included all the areas that were 4.5 or higher. Just, you know, of the 6 folks that were able to complete the survey, these were the ones that really stood out the most. And just as a note, we combined human resources with litigation, relations,
I don't know if it's my internet or not, but you're really hard to understand. Like, is anybody else
in
hearing
a little bit, Tony?
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me try and talk a little slower. So, you know, this was just a list of the characteristics from the survey, and as you can see, communication skills, long-range planning, and district office administrator were the top 3. Working with the Board of Education, short-term planning, finance, community relations, and experience as a superintendent were really the next category. Public speaking, human relations, and labor relations, kind of together. Experience as a principal was in that top portion, and that kind of made was the purpose of all of the I'll stop presenting there for a second. But what was the purpose of the rating sheet, to kind of give a basis for that? Then let me just share one more. Is the voice coming across better now?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, a little better, yeah.
Okay. Then for the open questions, so we asked a couple of questions. the single most important quality for the interim superintendent. Leadership skills, financial background was pretty strong, and it's strong in some of the other areas as well. Able to multitask, wear many hats at a given time. The three most pressing issues that the interim will face next year. So it's the annexation study, the viability of the district, financial issues. Again, that you'll see the annexation process and financial kind of throughout all of the answers, budget, the pandemic, the financial situation. You see some pretty consistent answers there. And then on the fourth question, other comments, and you can see these here. You see once again, some of the financial pieces, somebody who's flexible, a doer, dive in, really like more of a hands-on person, experience, pre-K to 12, were some of the key components that was on everybody's mind. So let me share. Can everybody see the candidate profile now?
No, that's the survey results still.
Okay, got it. Let me stop presenting, and then and thank you, Chris, for the catch on the editing of this. So we put together the candidate profile, and what we wanted to do in the first part, and this is the part where we just want to see if we capture everything, if there's anything you want to edit or change or add. So first and foremost, you can see the bullets here. I'll just go through them quickly. Making sure there's a safe learning environment for all students, and I'll do this, for the benefit of the people that are in the car. Possess strong communication skills, and it's really the ability to develop a communication plan and structure for all stakeholders. Actively participate in all aspects of the current merger study and related activities as required, because that's going to be a big, process for you next year. That's going to be one of the key components. The next two bullets were really to try to get at the hands-on leadership of the interim position. So collaborating with stakeholders to implement the district's goals as a district committed to providing safe environment. We're all students, so we took the board goals and the key areas of the goals for making sure that there's still a focus on increasing student achievement, opportunities for students, maintaining a nurturing learning environment, and engaging stakeholder groups in educational and extracurricular programs. And then we go into actively oversee and engage in the daily operation of the district as a hands-on leader to ensure successful implementation and completion of, and these are some of the daily tasks that Dan had shared, or weekly tasks: purchasing, the pandemic operations plan and reopening plan, because that'll still be in effect next year. Oversee and where necessary file required reports. So there's daily reporting now for the Department of Health. There's other reporting that's necessary, that's unique, and the superintendent in this case would be the interim, would be the one doing that. All Board of Education communications, federal and state funding, the consolidated grant, consolidated application, safety and inspection of facilities and grounds. So those are kind of the categories that for this interim that is, again, stressing actively oversee and engage in the operations of that. And then to paint a picture for some of the day-to-day operations too, collaborate regularly with the following key staff to provide daily leadership and guidance for the successful daily operation of the school and district. So these are things that for this position, for the interim and the applicants to know that there's daily interactions with the building principal, the school nurse, the CSE elementary secretary, middle school, high school secretary, head of buildings, grounds, transportation, the head driver, the head cook and cafeteria, athletic director, and payroll clerk. So those last two bullets were really to get, paint a picture of the hands-on needs of the interim position here. And then the other general areas, looking for somebody who has strengths in the areas listed below. I won't read all of them, but I'll just tell you the topics. So it's fiscal leadership. We put that up top. Relationship with the Board of Education. Advocacy, because we still think there's a lot of advocacy needed for Fort Edward, over the year. Personal characteristics, the strong character, servant leadership, integrity, and such. Human resources and legal leadership, so they, having that understanding, and labor relations. I did leave other highlighted in yellow, and the purpose of that is there anything that we're missing? Is there anything that you want to add? We could take that off, or if there's an area that you think is important for this position. So that's how, with the data from the survey and the characteristics and what Dan shared with us, we put together the bullets in the beginning and then the characteristics and skills towards the end that we think, is a good starting point for you for the district.
Yeah, and the first part is completely specific to Fort Edward, and then the second part are things that I think are unique, are generic to the superintendency for the most part. But so I guess what we want to do is get your feedback on what is there, what you think might be missing, or edits. And we don't have to have them all finalized tonight, but things that you think we might have missed or we should be thinking about differently.
I think it's a great list. It touches on a lot of the things that we find important, that we had questions for interviews when we had our superintendent search previously 5 years ago. So a lot of those aspects are definitely things we're looking for. You didn't list bus driver on there, but I guess we can leave that off.
I didn't want to scare too many people off.
Did I hear you say that there was only 6 responses?
We had 6 of the 9 board members were able to respond.
Oh, okay. All right.
Sorry.
I thought this was okay. That's my fault. Okay.
Yeah, this was only for the board. So
the only other piece that I would say that is that this is a very, very thorough. Thank you very much. You summarized it really well for our Fort Edward School District, and you know us really well. A couple little issues, and I guess these can come out within the interview process as well. But is the mentoring of our current administrative staff, because they're so young. So I'm hoping that we locate somebody that has, the superintendent's experience, but also the experience to mentor someone as young as, our staff is right now in terms of administration. We have a pre-K, as you know, pre-K 12 principal in that position, and it's, it's only a second year in. So that would be one thing. I don't know if we want to include that, but
I think that would be worthwhile. And Dan had sent us a note on that earlier. I think we just didn't get it in, but I think that I think that's important, probably very important. So we'll make sure we include that. Thank you.
But Todd, what about like a bullet towards, like on that first page, like provides instructional leadership to administrators and teaching staff and instructional for all staff, or?
Yeah, I even think, or even down to our, in terms of some of the other positions that we have that Dan does kind of guide and supervise currently, right down to our athletic director is fairly new. She's doing a fantastic job as well. But it seems like we've just had, major turnover over the years. But I think the bigger one is our principalship is that I'm looking for.
Okay, because we could add that maybe then to the second page. I could do instructional leadership as the category. Then we can specify the administrative team, and then as well as instructional staff.
Yeah, we can take a look at where to put it, Tony. We can figure that. We can look at that tomorrow.
Tony,
there's also. Oh, sorry, Todd.
Go for it, Christine. Go ahead. No.
I was just gonna say there's nothing about like knowledge base with like special ed services or CSE stuff or anything like that in there. I don't know if that, that's something that I know that a lot of people would find important to at least know of, like the laws and regulations and things like that.
We can certainly add that. My thinking is that's a great interview question, but more importantly, any interim who applies should have the base knowledge on that level. So
okay.
we can certainly add it, but to me, that's like, I would expect that at this.
Okay. Well, hopefully, yeah.
But I do think it would be a very, very good interview topic, by the way, to probe a little bit on that. But okay.
So the other thing that I think that, you know, with interview questions as well as we get into it, I'm hoping that the person that we do hire has some experience currently within the last year and a half with the pandemic. You know, being a teacher and educator right now in the system and knowing where the kids have fallen back, they've fallen back greatly in so many ways, you know, academically as well as emotionally, and being prepared for the high standards. So, you know, I know we have, you know, dollars set aside for some discussions this summer for a recovery plan, but I think the recovery plan will continue into the fall and even next year with whatever expectations we have. But I would like to kind of bring our students back up to some normalcy within our educational and academic standards and expectations there. So, you know, that little piece, I know that's kind of built in there already with our goals being in there, but I just think that if this person really should be sitting in some kind of administrative role or some kind of role right now, they shouldn't be just someone that's been retired for 2-3 years and not really being exposed to what's been happening in the last year and a half. Just my perspective on that.
We can certainly think if we can weave something in, such as, you know, the ability to articulate, you know, a relevant experience and the ability to articulate how they would plan to lead. We'd have to think about the wording, but how they would plan to lead the district in that, in helping students recover and from the pandemic. I'm a little awkward on my wording, but I think I know what you're looking for.
That's okay. And like I said, we can take care of it when we really look at interview questions and ask them questions as well.
Once again, that would be a really good topic to me, that'll be a great differentiation type of question in the interviews that you have.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think the posting is great. It's going to have those particular things about Fort Edward that we're certainly pointedly looking at. And then the other stuff is going to be focus of the interview. I mean, we're not going to be able to cover every aspect or characteristic we're looking for in the posting. You know, it's going to be quite long if we do. So I think we focus a lot on getting to the nitty gritty of the interviews.
Okay, are there any other changes or thoughts that people have? And then we'll try to get you an updated, hopefully close to final, but, you know, we'll give you one more shot at it before we lock it in. All right, I'm not hearing any. So so we'll update this and we'll try to get back to you a final version. And then the next topic is the posting itself, which is so we have the candidate profile, and then we have what's actually going to be put in the paper, which obviously will be a little short, well, not in the paper, but in the NISCASAT, excuse me. And I sent to you the draft that we put together. It was pretty, you know, it's really an announcement. That's all it does. And I'll read it just in case everyone didn't get a chance to read it. The Fort Edward Union Free School District is seeking a qualified interim superintendent of schools to lead the district beginning on or about July 1st, 2021. It's expected that the interim superintendent will serve the district through the end of the 21-22 school year. The Fort Edward Union Free School District is located in the village of Fort Edward in Washington County and serves approximately 425 students pre-K through 12. The district is within close proximity to Lake George and Saratoga Springs and is 45 minutes north of Albany. The ideal candidate will have experience as a superintendent of schools and will demonstrate the ability to successfully lead the district through this time or transition, which includes an active merger study. The candidate profile can be found here, and that's where it will be a link. Interested individuals should send a cover letter, resume, and professional references by May 21 to myself. Any questions on that or thoughts, changes? Pretty standard.
I think it's perfect.
Yeah, that's good.
Fantastic.
All right.
That's good.
You know, it's good purpose. That's about all it does. Okay, and thank you. And then the last piece of this portion is, and I want to just double check the schedule. So we will ask for the letters of interest by May 21st. At the last meeting, we talked about potentially the week of May 24th having an opportunity to review the candidates and just having a chance to, at that point, we'll spend a little time writing interview questions or interview topics. I would recommend, just for the board's consideration, that because it's an interim, there's no need to do 10 or 15 cookie cutter. I think it will be important that we collect areas that you want to talk about, and you have an opportunity to ask questions to the degree that you want, to the extent you want, as deep as you want, and any number of topics, because obviously it's different than a regular interview where we may have somebody come back for 2 or 3 rounds. Typically, you do an interview. So I put some proposed dates, either May 25th or 26th, to see if that might work for you. It doesn't have to be those, but just trying to see if we can lock something in. And then interviews with the Board of Education. And I listed 4 potential dates that work in my calendar, but we'd have to see if they work for you. So I don't know if you need more time to get back to me on those dates, because I just sent them out today. But my goal is, as a next step, to lock in dates and to get the calendar finalized.
Well, I don't know what anybody else wants to do, but looking at my calendar for the 2 sections, number 6 and 7, any of those 6 dates work for me. So I don't know if anybody else had the chance to look yet or not, but they're good for me.
Thank you, Chris. What I think I'll do is I'll send them out to everyone just to make sure you have some time to look at your calendar. And if you could reply to me if they don't work to you, that would be helpful to me. And then we could block it in. Does that work for the board?
That works.
I know some people are driving, and I don't want.
I think that'll be helpful.
I'm sorry, Anita. I interrupted you. I apologize.
Oh no, I was just saying I think that would be helpful.
I know some of you are driving or on the phone, and I don't think it's probably the best time to lock calendar dates in. But at least I've got some for your consideration, and you can let me know if they're going to work for you. Okay, so with that in mind, once we get those dates in, then I'm hearing that unless there's any other changes, that we'll lock the rest of this calendar. And it's not a very, it is what it is. So, okay, thank you. And then the last 2 things I had, that was the most important business. And the last 2 can be done, which I briefly talked about. One, the last 2 things can be done really when we meet at a later time. The first is just talking a little bit more detail about the interviews, how you want them to run, and the format for them. And the other part is just to have a discussion about salary ranges, kind of where they are and where you might want to be. As I mentioned before, the salary ranges generally are per diem, and usually the board will ask a candidate where they stand and what they would expect as their per diem rate. But as a reminder that there's no TRS, you don't have to pay the 13% on salary for TRS, and you don't have to pay health insurance, and you don't have to pay. The only thing you would pay is FICA. And then sometimes if you have somebody for a year, which you do, they may have a consideration for some amount of vacation time or maybe a couple sick days, but it's not like a formal superintendent contract where you may have quite a few of them. But typically, if we're going to have any discussion about salary ranges or where the board would want to be, I would suggest that's in an executive session, because obviously that's not the type of thing you usually don't negotiate in public or talk about negotiations.
Oh yeah, Jim, to that point, I did have a couple of questions to give us some guidance on a benchmark where we should be and what we can do. So I'd like to have that conversation. I don't know at what point in the meeting we should do it, but I definitely like to have that conversation this evening.
Yeah, that's fine. That would just be an appropriate benchmark, probably for an executive session. So we could do that. I've gotten everything I need. I think, Tony, you got everything right. So, yeah. I have everything I need. So I think Dan said you were going to put a potential executive session on the calendar, on the agenda for this portion. Am I correct?
Yep. So what I did on the agenda is that right now we have, if needed, executive session. So it sounds like it's needed. So I'll have to go and I'll send out a separate link. We'll do as we always do. I'll stop this recording, and then I'll send out the second link for the executive session to everyone, and then we'll see you in that link.
One more before you go forward, Dan. Should we take care of business prior, or do you want to do that now?
We could, unless there's questions. There are a few business items on there. We could complete those business items and then do the executive session after doing those. There's only, what is there, 4 or 5 there? And they're fairly standard items. And if there's one that we have to table for executive session, we could just include it all in one executive session period.
Yeah, I don't want to hold Tony and Jim any longer than we need to, but it's probably cleaner to come out of exec with no business.
Yeah, I believe that we could do these other items probably in less than 10 minutes. Certainly, unless there's a lot of questions. If there's a lot of questions, we could adjourn to executive session and finish it afterwards.
Dan made me lock in my calendar till 7 o'clock tonight, so I'm good.
Yeah. I think we can do it in 10.
Right, all right. So I guess I'm going to go for a vote. I need a motion to enter executive session to discuss negotiations.
Well, do we want it, Tom? Do we want to do the other items first? Is that what you said?
Oh, I'm sorry. I misunderstood. Okay. So we're good. All right, let's do the other items first then.
So we will hold on that first executive session. We'll ask Tony and Jim to hang out just for a little bit.
Yep.
And I'll read through the agenda to get the items out there, and it shouldn't take us more than 5 or 10 minutes, I think, to get through those.
Okay.
So moving on to item 5 on the agenda, which is action. Need a motion to approve the contract with CWI for student transition services for the 21-22 school year.
I would need a motion as Dan stated.
A motion.
I saw Todd and Ella.
Second.
Any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And we
Any
are
noes? Okay.
no abstention, so that's 8-0-0. Moving on. Motion to approve the Wishby BOCES to enter into a lease agreement for the procurement of a server per the following resolution. Whereas the Board of Education of BOCES, where the Board of Education of the Fort Edward Union Free School District desires to authorize the Washington, Saratoga, Warren, Hamilton, Essex BOCES to enter into a 5-year lease in order to furnish certain services to the district pursuant to Education Law 1954 JJ. Those services being COSER 504 Instructional Technology Services. Now, therefore, it is resolved that the Board of Education of the Fort Edward Union Free School District authorizes the Wishwe BOCES to lease on the district's behalf for the provision of said services to the district not to exceed $30,292.83 plus related borrowing fees plus yearly support and coordination fees during the term of this lease, subject to the approval of the Commissioner of Education for a period of 5 years. I need a motion.
Motion.
That's a mouthful.
I'll second.
Anita,
I got Anita and James.
any discussion?
Oh,
All in favor?
Aye.
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 any opposed? Any abstaining?
Okay.
Item C. Motion to approve the BOCES budget for the 21-22 school year per the following resolution. Resolved. The Board of Cooperative Educational Services of the Wishwe counties is authorized to expend the sums set forth in the administrative budget in the total amount of $6,724,328 during the school year 2021-2022.
Need a motion.
Got Chris,
Seconded.
and was that Todd on the second?
Todd. That was Todd, yep. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? 8-0-0. Item D, motion to appoint the following 6 individuals to the Wishwe BOCES School Board. There are, what does that say? There are 8 open seats on the BOCES Board of Education, 5 being full 3-year terms ending on June 24th, 2024, and 3 being partial 2-year terms with a term end date of June 30th, 2023. 6 candidates have been nominated to fill the seats. The Fort Edward Board to vote for any or all of the following candidates: Pamela Ellis of Argyle, Jason Furnow of Boston Spa, James Nolan of Greenwich, Kevin Ostrander of South Glens Falls, David Petruska of Waterford, and Janine Thomas of Hartford.
All right, we need a motion for that, but typically we voted that in a clump, right?
Correct.
Past years, we voted for the entire set. So we need a motion to vote for the entire list.
Chris,
Motion.
I got Chris and Anita.
Okay. Any discussion? I will just say for the record, I think this is the first time in a very long time that we don't have a Fort Edward member on that board, but we wish all these new members luck in their service. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Aye.
Anybody abstaining? 8-0-0. And then we move to personnel for one item. Item A, motion to appoint Jeff Tully to the position of junior varsity boys baseball coach for the 2020-2021 school year at a rate of salary as negotiated with the FETA using available donations. The effective date of the appointment shall be set by the superintendent and communicated to the employee in writing. If the superintendent does not set an effective date, the Board of Education appointment shall be considered null.
Motion.
That was,
Need a motion.
I got Christina and I didn't get the second.
Todd seconded.
Todd. And that one there is just because I forgot to put it on our regular meeting this month, so sorry about that.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? 8-0-0. That is the conclusion of the business items. So it's 6:06. You need a motion to go into executive session, Tom.
Yep, as stated, need a motion.
I see Ella
Ella
Second.
and James.
and James.
All right, everyone's reminded that matters discussed in executive session are of the strictest confidence. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, see you on the other side, folks.
8-0-0. I will send the link out shortly. Folks in the public, we will come back to this link to adjourn, but I'm going to stop the recording now. Just anybody, when you're ready.
All right, so let's just talk about the schedule. So when we're talking about questions and preparing questions for the Meet the Candidates evening, which is, again, Dan, what's the date of that? I can't seem to remember that. I don't know why.
He's muted.
You're muted, Dan.
Yeah, so the 13th,
Okay.
Thursday,
So we've
May
got-
13th,
Okay, so we've got a little bit of
6
time.
p.m.
Thursday. Okay. So is it possible to put out some type of communication to the community to send the questions between now and May 1st? Well, that's only a couple of days, but just put it out there. If anyone would like a question to be asked of the candidates from the board, not that we're going to have the public ask, please send them, and then we can compile them like we did last year, and it shouldn't take long to put the questions together.
Yep, I can do that. I'd suggest that the due date for those be Thursday, May 6th. That's 1 week prior to the event. And it also means that there'll be 1 week to respond by the time I get the call out and post a Google Forms link on our website.
Right. That just gives us a week then to meet before the candidates' night. So we've got to pick a night after the 6th to get together and prepare all that stuff in time for the 13th.
And you've got a board meeting on the 10th. I mean, so we could discuss it on the 10th.
Is that our
board meeting?
Is that our board meeting on the 10th?
Yeah, you have your budget hearing at 6 with the board meeting to follow immediately thereafter.
It would help if I was looking at the right phone. Okay, now I've got it. Okay. Yeah, so we've got the finance committee at 5:30, and then the budget. Oh man, that's a busy night. All right, folks. So you know what's in front of us. We've got to meet to compile these questions prior to the 13th. They will be sent in by the 6th. Does anyone want to meet outside of Monday, or do we want to squeeze that into Monday the 10th?
Do you want a full board meeting, Tom, or do you want a committee meeting?
No, I think the suggestion that all the board is there to contribute
No,
to
just
questions. I mean, unless the board wants to do this over email, and then we come up with suggestions for questions, and folks say yay or nay. But I don't know. I just would rather be working on it, getting it done, and then coming up with the right questions. So,
Could we shift the timeline slightly and just put it back? Because I'm looking at the calendar. Could we put the questions out or put the notice out to the public, give them a week, move it back to the 5th, and then we meet on the 6th? That's a Thursday. And do the questions on the 6th?
I like that suggestion.
The
So-
6th is the Community Service Awards.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong calendar.
Yeah, May
That's a
6th.
Sunday. That's a Sunday. My bad. Never mind.
The
I was looking at the wrong date.
6th of May is a community Adirondack Area School Board Association. Chris is right. So I am definitely going to attend that. And I put Tom in there. I asked anybody else if they wanted to go, but we should have somebody. I should attend because we have a student who's being recognized, even though it's a virtual event. So I don't know exactly how that will look this year.
All right. So yeah, no, that's important to be there too. And then of course Wednesday is Cinco de Mayo. But what about if we have the deadline, like Christina said, maybe move it up a little bit. So it's only a couple of days. Listen, this event isn't hinged upon questions from the public. So if we give them a couple of days to send them and they do, great. If they don't, they don't. So if we do the 4th as the deadline, we can meet on the 5th.
It's also, Tom, if you, as soon as you get those out there, people are going to answer when they get it. It's not going to stagger in 3 or 4 or 5
Right.
days.
So yeah. So
It's
I
initial.
understand wanting to give them time, but
No,
so can we move it to the 4th and then we can get together on Cinco de Mayo, punch them out, and then go eat tacos and sip margaritas somewhere.
Sounds like a plan. I can make that work.
Okay. All right, let's do that. All right, that's good. So that's and that gives us enough time. Then we meet on the 10th. Board meeting. Good. Anybody else have any other business to discuss before we retire?
So this is just for the 3 of them, right? Or 2 out of the 3. So meet the candidates. It's just 3 total.
Correct. And I did send, I think I emailed the board on this. I did send all 3 of the individuals who submitted petitions that date and that time to let them save the date. I believe I heard back from all 3. I know I heard back from 2 out of 3. But I'll reach out again to them to make sure. I thank them for submitting petitions, and I let them know about the date.
Perfect.
Good.
All right, cool. If there's nothing else, I need a motion to adjourn.
Come on, Anita.
Anita,
Give
and Todd,
everybody else an opportunity.
Todd enthusiastically.
Todd and then Anita, is that what it was?
Yes.
So look like
Go through the screen.
All right.
And
All in favor?
All right.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank you for
everybody. I
the-
appreciate it.